Welcome back, my fellow degenerates. Week 8 is over, and it was full of some explosive fantasy football performances. CeeDee Lamb finally breaking out for that near 40-point game that we got so used to down the stretch last season. That's why he got drafted so early. Kyler Murray looking great once again, despite the new Call of Duty release this past weekend. Shout out, Kyler. Good job. And then Jalen Hurts over on the Eagles, tush push, succeeding 3 times this week. Unfortunate news for us Saquon Barkley owners, though. Moving on, we're in the heat of the trade season. The NFL trade deadline is November 5th, which is coming up soon. And we just saw another move with Deontay Johnson going to the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, this is going to have some fantasy football impacts. Zay Flowers, sad news for you. Lamar, probably great for you. Um, Moving on, we'll see if Cooper Cup gets traded. He's had some cryptic TikToks recently. Uh, I don't think he's going to move anywhere, but we'll see. This episode, Dan and I will go over some key takeaways from these games, as well as answer the questions that we all have about player usage on these teams that are dealing with injuries. Don't worry, we're going to skip over the teams like the Jets and the Panthers that are continuing to spiral out of control. Anyways, that's about all I got. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. As always, good luck in all of your fantasy football endeavors, unless you're in one of our leagues, because then luck ain't going to save you. Peace.
In audio.
Three, two, one, action. Welcome back to the DGen Fantasy Football Podcast. With me tonight is Dylan Rains, as always, and I am Dan Schmader. Tonight we're going to talk about Week 8.
Yep.
Later in the week, we'll get into Week 9. We are 1 week closer to fantasy football playoff elimination, or unfortunately, it's not making the playoffs. So, Week 8 was pretty fun, though, Dylan.
Yeah, it was.
We complained about last week, for Week 7, and I think the gods heard us and gave us a better week with a lot more fantasy production. But before we review all the games and our biggest takeaways, Dylan's going to touch on some big news that happened this past week.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we didn't fully escape the injury bug. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. I don't think it's completely confirmed yet, but watching the game was non-contact injury. His knee totally gave out. So it looks like he's out for the season. And not great for him. Not great with Nico still out, but Tank Dell maybe, I guess, rising stock. I don't know. And then in terms of big news just today, Deontay Johnson traded to the Ravens for a late round pick. It's nice to see him go to a contending team. I don't know if this is really great for him fantasy purpose wise. It's a crowded room over there. I mean, he's going to take away for Zay Flowers. So if anything, it's probably bad for everyone on the Ravens and not that great for Deontay. So
yeah, we've always said as a team, as a group, that Lamar is amazing, but there will not be like this 1,200-yard stud receiver that he'll support.
Yeah,
we'll see. This is the closest he's kind of gotten to someone that could do it.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah, those 300-yard 5 passing touchdown games are not a common occurrence for him. And then the other big news, which has, I think, much more fantasy impact, is Anthony Richardson has been benched and Joe Flacco has been named the starter. So I think this is very exciting for Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, even Jonathan Taylor. Just like, I think it's just way better for the team as a whole, which leads to more offensive production. So,
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone who's kind of upset about this.
No. In this past game with AR, I think he went 10 for 32. And you've seen it. Like, Michael Pittman is a much better player than what he's shown this year. And I think Josh Downs' potential hasn't even been realized yet because we've seen inconsistent QB play. So I think both those guys, major jump up. Shame for AR, though, right? I mean, he was a pretty high pick in both redraft and startup dynasty. His future looks bleak.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they have him sit behind Flacco and he can learn. for a
That's
year or two.
that's what's the noise coming out of Colts camp right now is like this is a short-term benching, but like long-term, they're not giving up on him. So I mean, obviously they
Yeah.
have to say that, but so hopefully he can kind of just watch Flacco and maybe learn. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, 10 for 32, like Josh Downs had a good game fantasy wise, but it would not make me like pleased to start him in like normal formats. So,
No. The chances of Downs having a great game like he did were so low. And
yeah, it's
it's
like you just get those. It's the same as Alec Pierce, basically, just catching a 60-yard bomb randomly. So,
that's it.
yeah,
But I think the Colts could be pretty relevant to fantasy, and not only in fantasy, but in real life the rest of the season.
yeah,
Jonathan Taylor looks great.
yeah. Their defense
So
looks
we'll see.
good. Very well rounded team. So,
Any other news that came out recently? I don't think so. Oh, I did see one thing. This is more of kind of a gossipy news, but it's NFL related.
yeah.
Video of Jameson Williams came out,
Oh,
and
yes.
he didn't seem like he was in a lot of trouble, but he got pulled over by the cops. It was body cam footage, and they were just pulling out like handgun after handgun out of his car. So I think Jameson this season for redraft, he's probably a drop candidate. He's suspended. He's
Yeah.
got some off-field issues, but
Wasn't he supposed to come
dynasty.
back this week? Right? Is it this week or next week?
Was it just a one-game
I think it
suspension?
was a 2 game. So,
He might have one more.
yeah.
That's not that bad though. 2 games?
Yeah, but the whole gun thing probably not gonna go away, so don't like
Yeah,
the
and apparently
chances.
he was supposed to be arrested, but the cops, like, let him go. This is
Ah,
some fishy stuff.
yeah,
That guy just can't stay out of the spotlight. Alright, so that's the news this coming week. We'll see if Deontay suits up for the Ravens on Sunday. I imagine he will. Um, he's gonna look sick in a Ravens uniform, but we'll get to week 9
true.
coming up. Let's talk about some week 8. These are kinda takeaways/questions,
Yep,
observations that lead to questions. They're not necessarily shakas like we used to do.
yeah,
These are takeaways and remaining questions. But let's start with the Thursday night game, LA Rams versus the Vikings. Stafford had an amazing game. He put up, I don't know, 25 points or so. Puka crossed 100 yards, and Cup scored a touchdown and he probably put up 16 PPR points. Is this an offense that we're looking to trust? And I know there's some question marks because Cup could be traded. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for the team to do. They're 3
yeah.
and 4. They looked good. Is this an offense you would be like trying to buy into?
Yeah, I think I believe it. I still trust Stafford so much as a NFL quarterback, and I don't think Cup's going anywhere. I think they're just kinda getting cheeky with it, with, like, that TikTok of him, like, waving goodbye after the game. I don't think that's real, but it's something to pay attention to this week. I mean, he's still gonna be great if he's there. Puka looks like he never missed a step coming back. They said he's gonna be on a snap count, and he just went crazy already. Kyron still one of the best running backs in the league. So, yeah, I'm all aboard this team, and it's like they still have players coming back from injury. It's like they have so many players out still, like on the offensive line, defensive line.
Yep.
They're already kind of dealing with like a shitty situation. So obviously it can get worse, but I doubt it's really going to get worse. It's only going to get better as they have more time
Yep.
altogether. So
Yeah, and they play this. They play the Seahawks this coming week. I know we're dipping into the next video, but that's a good matchup. I
yeah,
hope they keep it rolling. Watching Stafford with Sam Darnold together. It's like,
yep,
oh my God, Stafford's so good. Like
yeah,
compared to the things he can do, the throws he can make. So
yeah,
yeah, I try to buy into that. And then Puka, even if Cup leaves, like I
yeah,
was wrong about Puka. I thought Puka was good, but I thought last year was kind of like a
a fluke.
phantom 1,400 yard season.
Yeah,
All right, next surprise, or takeaway question number 2: the Eagles. The Eagles looked good. Jalen Hurts scored 3 rushing touchdowns, and this is kind of the Saquon was great in the game. He had over 100 rushing yards, but he was capped. He wasn't doing these 25-point games he started the season with.
yep.
Is this something that you're worried about rest of season for Saquon's production? Like, would you sell high on Saquon for another player that you think could potentially score more, see more points per game?
Um, I wouldn't sell him. I think this was kind of expected coming into the year, right? Like I know we
Yep.
thought Saquon might take away a little bit from Hurts, but now that they seem to have the tush push figured out again without Kelsey, it's feels like that's all ready to go. Some of the like mic'd up clips from the game this week, you saw Saquon being like, let's do it again after they failed the first one. So
Yeah.
I don't I
He's a
wouldn't
team player, man.
yeah, he is. I wouldn't worry about him.
Yeah.
He just didn't have much passing game involvement this week, but normally he does. So his floor is pretty high still. So I wouldn't move
Yeah.
off of him. But this is just going to be hit or miss every week. Obviously, if they get down on the one, chances are Jalen Hurts is getting the ball. But if it's on the 3 or 4, chances are it's Saquon. So
Yep. Okay. We can quickly touch on the Browns Ravens game because I just want to talk about this one player. Jameis Winston is obviously like the star of the game,
yeah,
but
our
Cedric
savior,
Tillman,
he's
yep,
back.
our savior Jameis, and then throwing to this third round, all big wide receiver named Cedric Tillman. Are you buying into Cedric Tillman? He has a tough matchup this coming week, but he looked very good, and he's giving me Nico Collins vibes.
That's the only thing that's kind of pushing me off him is like people won't stop talking about the Nico Collins comp. Just as like the breakout later into his career. Not that he's that far into his career, but his size, his like athleticism, which I kind of like. I do think it's kind of good for Tillman being that Jerry Judy just isn't getting targeted. So I believe it is Cedric Tillman's gonna like emerge as the wide receiver one there. Um, but I would definitely stash him in redraft leagues. Like he's very exciting if he's not already owned. You probably should have already picked him up though, given his previous week and like Cooper being gone. So, but I think he's legit. I don't know if Jameis can keep this up though. I know Jameis was good this week, but I don't see him being like 300 yards every week. Browns actually winning. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and it was against the Ravens too. Well,
yeah,
which their pass defense gets kind of picked apart.
yeah,
But still, it was fantastic to see. We've been
yeah,
begging for James for
yeah.
like
I
2 years.
loved that game. It was so fun.
Next up, real quick, this is more of commentary than something I'd like to see. But the Lions play the Titans. The Lions just blew them out.
Yep.
52 points scored. This post is more so about trusting Lions pass catchers, and obviously you have Amon Ra. You're gonna have to start Amon Ra, but they can put up 50 points without needing Amon Ra to, catch the ball 10 times, get 100 yards. It's kind of unfortunate because I think it really puts a limit on his ceiling.
I don't I'm not worried. I have him in a couple leagues. You can't take anything away from this game. The Lions had 250 return yards.
Oh my god.
Like that's why. Like all their drives were like so close. Like it's just I mean, Goff got benched with like I don't have it in front of me, but I think he went out with like 85 yards or something when he got benched, like pulled out of the game. It was an anomaly. Like
Yeah, between the return yards and Gibbs, 11 carries for like 100 and something yards.
yeah, so I just don't think you can take anything away from it. Like the Lions are having fun out there. Montgomery having the passing touchdown to Laporta, like
Yeah.
just and the
Awesome.
Titans are so bad. So it's just yeah, I wouldn't
I will say
worry.
though, Tony Pollard is like a lock start in my mind now.
Oh, for sure.
Just putting up production,
Yeah.
terrible games. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't panic
Alrighty.
personally though for Amon Ra. So but I understand the frustrations.
Yeah, so you don't sell them unless
Yeah.
it's something like good worth it. All right. Skipping over Cards, Dolphins.
Oh,
Kyler looked great though. I will say that.
yep.
I'll say that. Kyler rest of season because that was kind of the first legitimate good game he's had against a good pass defense.
Yep.
And so rest of season, are you pretty confident in Kyler Murray? He was making some excellent throws.
Yeah.
Harrison looked great.
He looks great. Trey, him, and Marv were all on the same page. Marv had some spectacular catches that really kind of saved Kyler a little bit. But yeah, it was exciting to watch. So we like Kyler. Like you said, the Dolphins'
Yeah.
pass defense has been one of the best so far this year. So
Yeah, and he was making some like crazy crossbody throws that were
Yeah.
fantastic to see because he's really struggled against better defenses. And this is 2 weeks in a row now. He beat the Chargers with his legs, and he did it through the air, and a lot of what we thought McBride, Harrison benefited, and Connor on the ground. Pats Jets. We really don't need to talk about that game.
Oh.
Unless you think there's anything pertinent other than Aaron Rodgers is washed.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams could still have some good games, but
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, Brees had a struggle a little bit. I mean, he had an all right game. Braylon got the goal line touchdown. He had more snaps than he's had in past weeks. Garrett Wilson's still going to get a lot of targets, a lot of points, but dude, the Jets are cooked, man. They're so fucked. Last place of the NFC East or AFC East.
Team did.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing what like 1 in 5 fantasy football teams do. Desperation play for some former star receiver.
Yeah, it's fucking down bad.
Falcons and Bucks. This was a good game. Kirko Chains had another fantastic game. Mooney and Pitts were the primary beneficiaries, but I want to talk about the Bucks because the Bucks played well. Baker played his ass off. Going forward, in my mind, you can start Rashad. I'm not happy about it. You can start Bucky, and you can start the tight end 6 on the season now, which is Cade Otton.
Yeah.
And hopefully feel pretty good, confident in their production.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, this is kind of what we expected. I didn't expect Baker to still throw for 330 yards. So that was crazy. And like you said, Cade Otton, most catches. That's what we thought. After that, it was kind of like all over the place. Jalen McMillan had the most snaps, but he only had a few catches for not a ton of yards. So it was an all right performance, but I'm not excited to play him. Rashad really got the receptions in this game. He also got the touchdown, so he was serviceable. Bucky did have more opportunities, more carries, and he still had a good amount of targets. So,
Bucky had a decent game, right?
Yeah, I think he put up.
I thought he scored a touchdown, maybe.
No touchdown for Bucky, but he had 7 receptions. So,
yeah, okay,
yeah, still.
I'll get you there in PPR.
Yeah, I think he had 16 points in full point PPR, so pretty good performance.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, I fuck it. Baker's balling his ass off. I would do it. He's got to throw to someone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about Cade Otton too. Honestly, that was a crazy game.
Yeah. So
Packers and Jags.
Oh, God.
Takeaway is Jordan Love seemed to get seriously injured, but it's a groin issue. Maybe just a freak tweak of it. And he might be back this week. Malik Willis, it goes in and plays well, but it does not benefit the receiver room at all.
No.
Tucker Kraft got lucky with a touchdown, long catch, only 3 targets. Wicks did nothing. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed. So Dubs played okay.
Yep.
But if Jordan Love isn't there, bench him, all of them.
Yep.
Except for Jaden Reed, I guess you have to play, but
yeah, he's the one, but he's still not exciting to play if Jordan Love's out. So
no, not at all. Because he kind of lives off little gains and then just a massive play, which he did get one of those in this game, but
it
was 2 catches for 77 yards. Okay. Texans Colts. CJ played much better. Unfortunately, we lost Diggs. We touched on AR-15. We touched on. He's totally garbage booty.
Yep.
But hopefully not a complete waste in Dynasty. And we're excited for the Colts when Joe Flacco comes back. And we'll see about Tank Dell. Do you think Tank's going to be taking a step up like we saw last year? He just hasn't seemed like the same player.
Yeah, I don't think he really has a choice. He is he has to, right? It's otherwise they have Hutchinson and John Mechie still there, I think. So
yeah, I think Robert Woods too.
Yeah. So I think it's got to be Tank for now, especially next week with Nico still out. So yeah, I don't know though. Stroud looked much better this week.
Mixon could just be the primary beneficiary. Mixon hasn't had a bad game yet this season. It's crazy.
Mixon's crazy this year, so it's nuts.
He's the best running back ever. It's wild.
Yeah.
What a year for aged running backs,
I know.
supposedly on their line. Chargers Saints game, I don't have much about it. Their pass game, Chargers, okay, this is my biggest takeaway. Their pass game looks like it's improving.
Yep.
And Lad McConkey looked great.
Yep.
Will Disley still involved. And they don't really pass the running backs much, which kind of stinks for JK, but he had a good game too.
Yep.
Are you feeling like this is something that's going to continue to get better as the Chargers are trying to expand their ways to win?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, dude, Herbert, I don't know how much of the game you watched, if you watched Red Zone or like any of this game in particular, but Herbert looks so good out there. He like
Yeah.
looks like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like it's just he looks so good. So I think it's really exciting. Lad's definitely the established wide receiver one there. That's great to see. J.K. Dobbins still a lot of points on the ground. He did get some like bullshit throwback Kamara points, getting like I think it was 4 catches for like 10 yards or something. So, and then I mean Saints, there's nothing to talk about until Derek Carr's back. Pretty much.
Yeah, which might be this week.
Yeah, that's true. So Olave had a great game, but
yeah, I'm excited about that, but they're a dumpster fire. Like they played Hayner and Rattler, who both were like throwing it to Olave, which was nice to see. But can you start Olave like going forward week to week?
I mean, it depends. I still like him week to week, just riding him. But I think once Derek Carr's back, the offense is going to look a whole lot better. So, and he's definitely the one there. So,
no Rashid.
Yep.
So the question is really, are they going to just take Mason Tipton or Bub Means and just start chucking it downfield? I hope not, because that was such a big part of that offense the first few weeks. Which when it works, it's great because you score fast. When it doesn't, you just find yourself on third down before you know it.
Yep.
And eat a sack. Bills and Seahawks. Not too much to say, except Amari Cooper just was non-existent. He was kind of a decoy. Maybe he's still learning the playbook. But Khalil Shakir creeped into wide receiver 2 category with a big game.
Yep.
Great to see. I will say, I don't know what his like weekly future looks like because he was amazing in that game. He caught 9 passes out of his 9 targets.
Yeah,
awesome. But Cooper will be involved at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Shakir kind of has a safe floor of like 4 for 40, and then his ceiling is like around here with a touchdown. So I think he's just going to be like finish as like a low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3. I think he's like a safe ish play, but it's some weeks the Bills just don't throw the ball and they run it down your throat. So
yeah, and they did this game too with James Cook. He had a fantastic game. Seahawks, not much to say. JSN led their team in receiving. Still not buying into that. DK Metcalf should be back in week 9.
Yep.
But we'll see. Broncos, Panthers, Bo Nix. God. I mean, this is what people wanted AR-15 to be, right?
Yeah.
But better. He's a better passer.
Yeah. I mean, Bo didn't rush for much this week, but he hasn't.
Just a 40-yard. He looks great. Like I'm considering like playing him. I played him over Kyler.
Yep.
And it worked out. And I think I might do it again, matchup dependent, honestly. But this also could be a trap. But we'll see. But Bo looks pretty good, and he gets you that little 40-yard, rushing bonus.
Yeah. That being said, outside of him, I don't really want to play anyone on that team.
No. Javonte Williams is just too streaky.
Yep.
And if he doesn't score a touchdown, you're getting 8 points.
Yeah.
Or 6 points. All righty. And then the last thing I'm dying to see more of, we can check out on these last few games, but CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys, he put up 40 points in one league I'm in because we have a big play bonus, but looks great. Finally had the breakout game everyone was hoping to see. Do we think that this is a sign of things to come? Is this a repeat of last year?
I don't know. The Cowboys are so weird. They they were
They
like
are.
dog shit the whole game, and then in the fourth quarter they just like mounted like a 2-drive comeback out of nowhere, and then they got the ball back, and it was like holy shit they might do this, and then they just went 3 and out, and it was over. So I don't know what this inconsistency is. I'd love to see the Cowboys be a good team, but I don't know. It's hard. It's
I would too. At least I'd love to see like CD have another amazing year.
yeah. I mean, maybe
That
what
game propelled him to like wide receiver 4 already though, so
yeah.
he's already right back in the mix.
Yeah, so I mean, if they keep up like this, they'll be fine. Also, like the Niners are a good team. Obviously, they played so.
Mhm.
Even though their record's not great, they're still obviously one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and they'll be making a push again.
Yeah,
Last few games of the week: Chiefs Raiders, kind of a tight game. Travis Kelce played amazing.
yeah,
Kareem Hunt scored again. You know the Chiefs just find a way to win, and Mahomes threw more touchdowns than interceptions this game, which was nice.
yeah. First time all month. So
Yep. Gardner had a pretty crispy game, I'd say. 24 for 30, 209, 2 touchdowns.
other than that fumble,
Whatever.
but
Yep.
yeah,
And Jacoby Myers stepped up. All right. Last couple games here. I believe we have the Steelers and Giants. And we might have missed one.
you missed the most exciting game of the
Bears
week.
Commanders.
Yeah,
18-15. Have you seen the videos coming out of guys who like Bears fans who are like live streaming themselves
yeah,
talking shit? Yeah. Good.
yeah. And then there's that one quarterback or safety, I don't know, Tyrese something that was like
Tyreek King, something like that.
he was just like taunting the crowd and everything, and then he ended up being.
Yep.
It looked like it's. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but it looks like he's the one who like tips the ball up right to Noah Brown. So
I've saw that. It's Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah,
yeah,
he's having a rough day.
yeah. Bill
Um,
Belichick was like, Bill was like, you're like the worst player ever, basically.
That
Yeah,
sucks, Tyreek. I'm sure he'll bounce back.
yeah,
For the Bears, the only one that like really had a breakout game, or not a breakout game, 'cause he's been doing it for a few weeks now, is DeAndre Swift had another huge game.
yeah. He did.
One super long run, but 18 carries, 129 yards, touchdown. He looked great.
Yep.
And they are like making it work for him.
Yeah.
On the Commander side, kind of lackluster. Terry had another beast game, 5 receptions for 125, and of course, Zach Ertz, 7 for 77 yards on
Yeah.
11 targets, leading the team.
Yeah.
Jaden loves it, man.
Yeah, it's wild. Zach Ertz is. I didn't check yet what his updated rankings are, but he's definitely still top 10. I think he was
I think
8.
he might be 9.
Yeah, I think he was like 8 coming into the week. So,
I jumped. Well, the tight ends had big weeks.
yeah. One other, in case you didn't know, is National Tight End Day.
Oh, God.
God, that was the worst. One quick note though on DeAndre Swift. I know it's exciting to see him be involved, but they have a good schedule for a couple more weeks, but then he enters an absolute fucking gauntlet that you probably don't want to play him at all. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to start shopping him around. From week 11 on, it's Packers, Vikings, Lions, Niners, Vikings, Lions.
Yeah.
So
He's going to fuck people.
So Vikings twice, Lions twice, Packers, Niners. So that's just a brutal stretch.
Yeah, don't forget these good times. They come to an end at some point, and he
Yeah.
is on a good time. And then the last game, and this is relative, Steelers kind of beat down the Giants 26-18. Najee Harris with another 100-yard game.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at their schedule yet, but are you selling Najee high right now, if you can? Or are you thinking this could keep up?
I think you kind of just keep rolling with them, right? I think it's like kind of here to last. I think he's like a very important part of this offense.
Yeah, he's been playing really good the last few weeks.
Yeah, and even with like Jalen Warren back, he still had like a good amount of carries. He did have some targets out of the backfield, so we like to see that.
Yep. Awesome. And the Steelers are rolling, so why change things?
Yeah.
All right. So that was week 8. Any other closing thoughts before we head home? Call it a night.
Last thing from that Giants Steelers game that was Tyrone Tracy is him. He looks so good out there. Looks like he might have gotten a concussion at the end of the game, so that'll be
Yeah.
something to monitor. But I did not expect this. Devin Singletary is just almost completely phased out. So
He's a bum.
yeah,
Yes, Tyrone Tracy. Obviously, we wanted to see more passing game involvement, but if he scored a touchdown, he got 20 carries. Like, that is legitimately unique volume in the league. I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's a few other running backs getting those carries, but
yeah,
dude, you want someone with 20 carries a game
Yeah.
like that. And it's not like the Steelers defense is like a total pushover.
no, not at all.
And then, like we mentioned last week, Neighbors, he's coming back down to earth. He ended up with 14 points
Yeah,
on 13 targets, so there's still a lot to feel good about. He's amazing. But
yeah,
if you were like riding him hot on your redraft team, you better be prepared. He's not putting up 25 a game.
no, unfortunately not. But obviously not to do with him. It's not taking away from him. It's just fucking Danny Dimes, Danny Dog
Yep.
shit. You know.
That's it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He can still get him the ball,
Yeah,
or target him 13 times, but he's not going to be much than like Garrett Wilson was last year if Danny Dimes is Danny Dimesing.
yep.
Alrighty. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. We're DGen Fantasy Football Podcast, and we will see you in a couple days.
See you guys.